There's a snake in my boot. We usually try to leave black snakes alone because they eat mice. That one didn't quite make it though. So far this morning, what we've been working on is finishing up here. This is the garage. This is the garage up here, and we just been bracing more, making sure that we're on our string. So we need to be 3/8 of an inch from our string to the inside of this. And we have the little spacers that we've been using to try to get there. And then our other full sticks of former drain weren't going to show up for another month. I'm trying to cancel that order. So we just used a bunch of spacers and pieced it together, which the spacers aren't cheap, but I had them. Yeah, anyway. And then just because it was kind of like a wet noodle, we threw some 2x6s that we had laying around, screwed those to them so that it would firm it up a bit. That way it's nice until we get it poured. Once it's poured, I think it'll be fine. So there we go. All right, so here it is. The back side doesn't have any cuts in it. It'll bend right along that seam. And the front side is cut out. Then I cut one side of this out, didn't cut the other so that I'd have a tab. And then when I fold it up, I'll be able to screw into it, and it should form the deal that I need. So we're gonna see. So here we're just continuing, like last video, backfilling the outside edge. This tries to keep it to where we can have less pressure pushing out when we actually pour the concrete. So Mom and Dad liked Sherry's gazebo so much that they decided they needed one over their where they keep their grill and smoker. So we had to pause to help them put that together. It was a kit, but man, it did not go together just as easy as you might think. It took a bit, but we got it done, and it turned out really nice.
That's what I said. I told him. Wrong one.
You should have said louder.
How would you have heard that?
What?
Uh-huh.
I told him when he pointed at it. Wrong one.
Where's the supervisor?
She's busy on her phone.
You got fired.
There she is. Got fired for drinking on the job.
we didn't really talk a lot about the forma drain. So the forma drain that we're using for our footers is actually 3 systems in one. It is your drainage tile, inside and outside. So the water that gets, the groundwater that comes in and soaks through the gravel will actually go into the outside of this forma drain. It's like a hollow 2x8, and it has little slits cut in it, like saw curves cut in it all over on the whole length of it, and that allows the water to get inside of it, and then it's perfectly level, so it just runs around until it hits one of the pipes that lead out of it, and one of those is the gravity drain that we talked about last time, and one of those dumps into our sump pump basin. And then we also have pipes in here that transfer from inside to outside to allow the water from inside to get outside into the gravity drain or to the sump pump. It also acts as a radon vent system. So we also have a vent coming off of that, and we'll plumb that to the outside and put a fan on it to actively ventilate the underneath of the slab from radon gas buildup. Here we're dumping into these wooden forms that you see here. These are our load-bearing walls. Okay. These are interior walls in the basement that will hold up walls upstairs that are needed to keep the spans of the of the I-joists within spec. And so not only is it load bearing for the floor, but it will be load bearing for the ceiling. The ceiling joists are also just I-joists. Ceiling trusses. Joists? I don't know. Anyway, the ceiling and the floor will stack on top of this, and this will be poured underneath the slab, so you won't actually see these, but you won't actually see any of it, but these are going to be completely covered. They won't have walls or blocks or anything on them. They're just there to give the slab an extra big foot to sit on. Harry's dad is even getting in on the action. He's finished a lot of concrete in his day for his, he used to raise hogs, and his hog barns, he poured almost all the concrete in those by himself, well, with Carrie's help and the other kids. I don't know how he can do that on the gravel with his knees without knee pads. I guess it's just tougher than I am. I gotta have my knee pads.
Radar! So the swings that you saw in episode 0
to get to those, we've always had to walk across the yard, and there's always been puppy mines, um, aka dog poop, that you would step in, and it just also mom broke her femur, and she was in a walker. She couldn't get out there easily over the grass. She still managed it, but it'd have been nicer to have a sidewalk. So we decided we wanted to put a sidewalk in. So here I'm just cutting through the topsoil, the width of the bucket, or as close as I could get to the width of the bucket, and we're going to pour in the concrete that we had left over. I made sure I ordered long because I didn't want a cold seam in my footers, so I made sure I ordered plenty long, and by doing that, we had extra that we could put over here into the sidewalk. And then we were trying to find things to use as the frame for this, and we actually, from our steel recycler, he had these 4 inch by quarter inch galvanized steel in long sections, and we just welded those together, drove rebar down beside it, welded it to the rebar, and that gave us a nice fair curve that we could use for our forms. Worked out really good. Join us next time when we start playing with Legos.